Endlich ist es soweit. 4 Jahre haben vi auf diesen Augenblick gewartet.
Verdensmesterskabet står selvfølgelig over alt andet i fodbold. Crianças por todo mundo. Torce pelos seus ídolos e seus heróis.
Hunderte Millionen sind vor dem Fernseher dabei. Das Stadion ist bis auf den letzten Platz gefüllt.
I was always taking pictures. I love taking pictures. But I realized that from where we were sitting, the soccer players are this big.
Die Weltmeisterschaft steht haushoch über allem anderen.
So I would turn to the side and I'd take pictures of the EXCO members. Because I was one of the family, they would pose for me.
My name is Sepp Blatter.
Sepp pulled me aside and said, "What are you using these pictures for?" From my photo album. And then it was fine. He had no problem with that. He was very, very good at keeping the family together.
Football has become a big, big business, one of the biggest business in the world.
So I got into the relationship thinking this was the love of my life.
FIFA is like The Sopranos, but with worse people.
I felt like Cinderella at the ball.
The whole house of cards is falling. All I did was tell them where the house was vulnerable.
And we heard the voice behind us, "May we have a word with you, Mr. Blazer?" I knew that was it, because nobody ever called him Mr. Blazer.
Is FIFA inherently corrupt?
No, sir.
No?
I think individuals are.
Today is a special day in Zurich.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for bidding for the World Cup.
It's the beginning of the race to become host of the greatest sports event on earth, the Football World Cup.
A World Cup brings the world's television cameras, many people from around the world to your nation. So people are fiercely desperate to try and get hold of the World Cup, and the contests are really, really quite competitive.
Bring the World Cup to the United States.
Bring the World Cup to the United States!
FIFA, the World Football Association, chooses the winner. And 2 candidates stand out.
Nobody seriously believed that it was possible for Qatar, especially given the strength of the bids that they were competing with.
I promise you that if we are successful,
of course, we're talking about the Americans, who were odds-on favorites to land it.
America will make the world proud.
I never had a budget. Any Qatar entity that we needed to use to help win the bid was at our disposal. This was something that they wanted and they were going to get.
In order to win a bid to host a World Cup, you have to convince a majority of the 24 voters on the FIFA Executive Committee. They are the gods of football.
I came to New York at 19, and I was trying to be an actress. I got a job as a waitress and waited tables for about 8 years, but kept auditioning. And eventually I got into the soap operas.
Hey, Charlie Brett, just what do you think you're doing? Yeah, well, he's been playing that stupid music for hours.
I didn't have much of a career as a model. I think I'm a little bit too short. But I happened to book a job wearing a bikini, and the photographer was friends with Chuck. And he was charming, absolutely charming, and smart, and seemed very interested in me, and I thought that was really nice. We had a drink, And that's when he confessed to me that he just couldn't hold it back anymore. I was the love of his life. And that really surprised me because he was married and I was in a relationship, but he was so charming. I decided to take a leap of faith and started in a relationship with him. It didn't last long, and it ended badly.
Chuck Blazer was a key figure in FIFA, recognized as the godfather of soccer business in North America. He worked behind the scenes and until recently remained unknown to most football fans.
Can you, whoever wants to go first, give a brief history of Chuck Blazer?
Go ahead.
Chuck Blazer, I think, primarily was a salesman. Very bright, especially good with numbers and accounting. He first became involved in soccer, coaching his kids' teams. People would say, "How did you get involved in soccer?" And he would say, "I used to be a coach." But he forgot to tell people he used to coach elementary school kids. He was never any kind of high-level soccer coach.
Here we are, Brazil versus Mexico. So stay with us, all right? Don't leave. Don't change that dial.
And I think as he was coaching his kids' soccer team, he started seeing there's this building market here. He became more and more involved in the organization of soccer.
Welcome to Soccer App USA.
Here we are now. We're hearing it from the words of Mr. Blazer that the size of the soccer ball of the MLS is going to be this big.
That's right.
Thank you, Chuck.
My pleasure.
We have a sold-out Coliseum. In the background, you have Los Angeles.
In the early 90s, the first international tournaments take place in the USA.
Something he did for U.S. Soccer Federation was to vastly increase the number of soccer tournaments.
As Secretary General of CONCACAF, the Football Association of North and Central America, Chuck Blazer invents the Gold Cup.
We bring the hottest soccer action. Let's kick it off with the most recent CONCACAF Gold Cup tournament in sunny California. Ooh la la.
CONCACAF at that time was considered kind of a joke. Nobody heard of it. But Chuck saw that as another avenue.
And the crowd is going crazy.
When the game was on, he didn't pay much attention to it. He never talked about teams. He never talked about players. He was really into the business of soccer.
And he was largely responsible for the explosion of soccer in North America.
Wow, that was hot stuff. We love you. Thanks for watching.
That same year, Chuck Blazer is welcomed onto FIFA's board, its executive committee.
I think they saw, Americans as being this sort of
entrepreneurial.
Marketers. They know how to market the sport more successfully. That's what they saw probably in Chuck.
Who exactly are the executive committee of FIFA, and what is their role?
Executive committee of FIFA is like a board of directors. They are members who are elected from each of the confederations, forming a group of 24 men who deal with all of the issues of football.
Anybody that meant anything in the world of soccer, especially for those trying to get the World Cup to their country, he was treated like royalty.
"25 years later, he wrote me a letter, a real letter, with a stamp on it and everything. I was like, wow, nobody does that. And it was a letter basically summing up the last 25 years of his life, saying that he was now dining with kings and queens and that he was the Secretary General of CONCACAF, which I didn't know what that was. So I wrote him back saying, wow, I'm kind of sorry, you're only a secretary. And he says, no, secretary is in in the United Nations. And I went, oh, okay, well, that's wonderful, that's great, congratulations. And he said, when I come back in town, maybe we could have lunch. Thought, okay, I could do lunch. I was a little scared, but I said, it's been 25 years. Everybody gets mellow. And so I went to see him at Trump Tower. So when I went to the apartment, his personal assistant opened the door. And she led me out to the living room. And I looked around and I was like, where the heck is he? And then I saw him in the corner, huddled in a velour bathrobe, just like hunched over, looking up. I said, wow. I said, hello. He said, I have to tell you something. I have been in love with you for over 25 years. And I've never forgotten our relationship. I cried every time I went by your apartment. I can't get over you. And I've made you a mixtape. I've made you a burned CD with songs that I think will tell you how I feel. And then he hit play.
Think of me fondly.
And it was a collection of songs from Phantom of the Opera, all these incredibly wonderful romantic songs. And at that point, I had tears running down my face because I realized he'd gone to a lot of effort for this. He said, please be with me, please. And I will love you and take care of you, and I will care for your children as my own. Please, you know, let us recapture our happiness. The timing was perfect, and the setup was perfect, and I buckled. And so we started our relationship from there. He decided for our first trip to take me to Madrid, and where I saw my very first soccer game. And I was so proud. And I said, this is my very first soccer game. And he said, don't tell people that. But it was amazing. I'd never seen people run so fast. And he said to me at the time, he said, we will be treated like kings and queens. I couldn't figure that one out. I didn't know what FIFA was. I called it FIFA. At first, they were a little standoffish because they didn't know how long I was going to be on the scene, because he was going through quite a number of women. But I had the best time with them. They were so funny, very serious type people, but they could crack a good joke. We couldn't sit down to dinner anywhere unless there was a three-piece string quartet, or, I mean, it was just incredible meals. There was the best wine, entertainment.
The executive committee were very old, and in many cases, not very fit. That's not to be critical, because people get old. People, look at me. People get fat. Look at me.
Most of the exco had been players or coaches or managers or something to do with soccer. Chuck was actually the only one, I think, that never played.
Sepp Blatter. What was your relationship to Sepp?
I liked him, too. I mean, I found him charming, and he was always very nice to me. He reminded me sort of like a Swiss Benny Hill, because he always had that little twinkle in his eye, and he was just like your grandfather.
A secret payment of 1 million Swiss francs from ISL arrived by accident in FIFA's bank account.
A lot of people would say there's another side to him.
I never saw that side. I've heard about it, you know, that he controlled everything with an iron fist. If it was an iron fist, it was in a velvet glove.
And our sport, you know it, our sport gives these dramas. Drama in football.
He was very, very good at keeping the family together.
The essence of our sport, which is discipline, respect, and fair play.
Is FIFA inherently corrupt?
No, sir.
No?
I think individuals are.
At least twice a year, all ExCo members and their wives fly to Switzerland. They convene at FIFA's modern headquarters in a boardroom 3 floors below the ground.
We would usually travel Swiss Air, wonderful airline. He would often stay up the entire time and then go right to FIFA House.
I think that FIFA is doing a really excellent job of promoting football around the world. If I look back 10 years, 20 years and see the progress we made, I'm very proud of our accomplishments.
They put a lot of work into it, spreading soccer throughout the world, finding countries that needed support. We'd be there for 3 or 4 or 5 days. There'd always be a dinner. Everything was impeccable. Staying at the Bowerlock, they have the best muesli, and Chuck told me to eat as much as I possibly could because FIFA was paying for breakfast.
They had this sort of like a bank for all the members to go to in the hotel.
He would also pick up $20,000 every trip to Zurich. He would split the money up into 2 packs and take $100 out of each pack, so it was $9,900. Which is legal. I would carry 99 and he would carry 99. That was done every single time.
Where would this cash come from?
FIFA. I mean, their finance department.
Do you know if all of the EXCO members went to FIFA and got cash?
Oh, yeah. As far as I know, everybody did. It was the last stop you made before you went to the airport. You'd go in and get your envelopes. Trump Tower has an incredible view. His apartment was on the 49th floor, and there were always wonderful toys. He always had the coolest gadgets. Max was a blue and gold macaw.
People used to report having seen him in Central Park in New York, going out for his sort of exercise, but his exercise was on one of those segways, and he would go around this enormous man with a parrot on his shoulder.
Go, Max, go, it's okay.
CONCACAF offices were the entire 17th floor of Trump Tower. He decided that he was going to build an aviary in his office at a cost of $150,000. It was all marble floors, all glass walls, overlooked Central Park and Fifth Avenue. He had his own flat screen TV, Max did, that was usually turned to Animal Planet.
He charged everything to CONCACAF.
And that includes the rent for his apartment for his cats.
They were litter box challenged, so to speak. And then when this other apartment opened up, he said, we could put the cats in there.
An apartment in Trump Tower just for 2 cats?
$5,500 a month.
To find the best possible World Cup host, each EXCO member visits all of the candidate countries. This is a chance for hopeful bidders to make an impression on the FIFA bosses.
I went to Russia. It was pretty amazing the day that Chuck went in to see Putin. All his ministers are lined up in the hallway, and they were all pushed aside so Chuck could come in and meet with Mr. Putin. And the first thing Putin says to him is, you look just like Karl Marx. And Chuck said, I know. Because I got him to grow a beard, because he had 3 chins. He spent all this time shaving. He had to shave twice a day. And I went, what a waste of time. You know, if you grew a beard, it would look better, you know. And he went, oh, that's a good idea. And Putin gives him a high five. England, we just went to London. Queen Elizabeth, I got to meet her, and she was amazing. And it was just like, oh, how are you today? Lovely that you came. I'm so happy you're here and hope you're enjoying your stay. I mean, just incredibly gracious, on point, and as just natural as your next door neighbor. Not at all what I expected a queen to be. And I finished my drink, and I'm standing there with this empty glass, and Chuck says, give me your glass. And I thought he was gonna put it on the bus tray. And he takes it, and he's got his glass, and he puts them both into his pockets. I'm like, you cannot steal from the Queen of England. What are you doing? It's like, you don't, that's so tacky. He goes, I want a souvenir. I had been to Qatar. I was never terribly comfortable there because I'm used to being able to, when I go to a city, getting up in the morning and taking a walk around the city, and you can't do that there. First of all, it's 120 degrees outside.
It was like we were the joke of the whole bidding team. Even people within FIFA didn't take Qatar seriously as they should have.
They don't even have a team. They don't have stadiums. They don't have anything, but they have a lot of money.
We had Bin Hammam. I mean, what better lobbyist? One of the most powerful men in football.
Mohammed bin Hammam was Qatar's top football official. He was also very close to Sepp Blatter. He was going around spreading huge amounts of payments across so many football officials to try and create a groundswell of support for the Qatari bid.
When we went to Mohammed's house, the men and women were separated, and the women were sent to the women's quarters. So we were all gathered upstairs. We had some mint tea, and then we were brought down to eat separately. We had just started the meal when we heard a clap, and we were told the men were finished and we had to leave. And I'm still eating. But it didn't matter. When the men were ready, you have to leave.
Everyone had their mind on winning this event, making money and reputation and recognition. Any means possible was considered by any of them.
In January 2010, the African Football Union comes together in Angola for its annual Congress. This year, they've got a new benefactor. At the cost of $2 million, Qatar's World Cup bid has become the exclusive sponsor of the meeting.
There were 3 of the FIFA Exco members' votes up for grab. Bin Hammam attended this conference, though he's not related to the African Football Federation. One of the people from Bin Hammam's camp was Amadou Diallo. He was also working for the bid at this point. It was quite late at night, around 11 o'clock, and